Okay, Smacdown Live. Let's do a couple of things before we start. One, I'm sorry I don't have an intro. I did Major League Wrestling intro and I did the Impact Wrestling intro. I haven't figured out what I want for Smacdown yet. So I will leave it blank just with my avatar. So I hope you don't mind it until at least I get one. Now let's talk about basically what happened on Raw and this Smackdown when it comes to Mean Gene Okerlund. I'm going to try and make this short because I know a lot of people don't really care about Mean Gene and others really love the guy. And then the controversy of having Hulk Hogan back to say something about Mean Gene. Look, I'm going to make this clear to every person who's watching this, whether you agree with me all the time or not. Let's see this from one perspective and one perspective only. If you don't like what he did years ago, saying someone a fucking nigger or something like that, I'm sorry for the cursing, but this is what it comes down to. His foul language, being disrespectful, being racist. I'm not telling you shouldn't be angry at what he did. If he hurt your heart because he was your favorite wrestler, it's understandable. You're angry. But when it comes to professional wrestling, he is needed. Period. I'm not saying you have to like him being on TV. I'm not saying you have to like him being on the WWE, but as it stands right now, the WWE is a mess. And they need star power that they know that people, even though he did a stupid thing, calling a freaking person possibly nigga, whatever, I can't even remember what it is. It's been a while. I don't even think about it anymore. When it comes down to it, he is needed. If you forgive him, fine. If you don't forgive him, fine. But you can't say he's not needed for the show. That's the bottom line. For me personally, I don't do forgiveness. I accept your apology and just go from there. The guy apologized. He went to get some help. There you go. I accept what he did. He apologized. End of story. I see it in that respect. But I also see if I was still angry at what he did, I have to put that aside for what he's done for wrestling. Like Chris Benoit, the person that cannot be talked about. Chris Benoit, no matter even, I'll put in disrespect, killing himself with his wife and kid is freaking wrong. I don't condone what he did, but he did it. That was an evil thing to do. But he contributed to wrestling in a way that no one else could. He was the best wrestler, pure wrestler that existed other than Kurt Angle. Not even Bret Hart was good as Chris Benoit. And that's saying a lot from Bret Hart. I know what he did. That was an evil thing that people would see it as. But I still see him for what he was. The best physical, pure wrestler the company and the industry's ever produced. So for anyone who hears this, remember, you can still hate his freaking guts for what he said. But the wrestling industry at least needs to see him from time to time to give them something. Now, let's move on to Smackdown Live, which really didn't change much. I didn't see 2 weeks of the product from Christmas and New Year's, didn't watch it. But from what I can tell, very few things have been progressed, and there is no super change. There's no change here. First thing, we have the opening with the new Daniel Bryan in the back, in the arena, where the concession stand and the t-shirt stand was. I gotta say, that was a good touch, where he was saying, I want you people to understand that I am the new Daniel Bryan, that is NDB, if for anyone else. NDB pretty much says you need to let go of the addiction of AJ Styles. You need a void filled, and you need that addiction. You didn't say addiction, but that's what I'm saying. And when he grabbed that hot dog from that guy, that was so freaking funny. That was nice. It was very good moment. Throwing the soda on somebody wasn't bad either. Going to the ring and then getting his ass handed to him by R-Truth. Since I didn't see the product on Christmas Day, I didn't know that he beat the crap out of R-Truth. So when the ring section happened, when he came down from the steps in the arena, I'm going, why is R-Truth there? And then we have the match. And then they're trying to put R-Truth over. And then I realized, this is a squash match. Yes, R-Truth got some offense in. Doesn't mean nothing. Because I had a feeling AJ was going to come out and hit and nail Daniel Bryan. And that's what exactly happened. And I feel bad for R-Truth because R-Truth is given an opportunity that very few people have. That he's going to be coming out as number 30. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to care that much about R-Truth. But this is something the company could actually do something interesting with him. I really want to see R-Truth given something. He's been in that company for years. And I do believe that he still has something special to give. But he's an afterthought. Unless they're actually going to do something with him where instead of him winning, I want to repeat this, instead of him going for the world title or the universal title, let him go for the IC title against Seth Rollins, whoever's holding it. That would be something interesting. I would like to see that for R-Truth. Why not? I know he's supposed to go for the world title or for the universal title, but who says he can't? Repeat, he can't do the IC title. Any title he wants. He's crazy, remember? Let's move on to Ray and Mustafa Ali versus Almost and Joe, which that kind of upset me. The person in that entire match who practically was doing a large chunk of the work, but then got nothing out of it, was Samoa Joe. I'm sorry. Samoa Joe should have already been world champion at least once already. And he's doing nothing. Nothing. So this really didn't mean anything to me. This angered me. Yes, you got Almost getting something out of it. Yes, Zelina Vega is absolutely gorgeous. And she helped in that match. Not trying to be physical, but just being there. And let's say that Samoa Joe joins Sierra Almost and Zelina Vega's stable. That actually might help Samoa Joe a little bit. Not saying he'll get anywhere, but it might give him something, even though he doesn't really need Zelina Vega helping him talk. The man is the best talker in the company. He really is one of the best. But where is he now? He's doing nothing. The match really didn't mean much, even though it was a well-done match. Samoa Joe is the most lost person there. And that's the bottom line. I'm just saying, I know I'm not trying to do the rock. I'm just being honest here. Usos. No, actually, forget that. I'll do that next. I'll do that later, not next. Later. We got Rusev's segment being upset about what happened with Lana getting hurt because when he kicked... Let me back up a little bit. He said, I wish he would stop joking around because it was funny at first. Now it's not funny anymore. His jokes are not funny. Whoever's writing those jokes suck. But when he was doing his bid, he was making it very clear. I'm not Rusev. I'm not the Bulgarian brute. I am a husband. And because of Shinsuke Nakamura, my wife is hurt. And nobody hurts my wife. Come out here. I'm going to destroy you. And then Nakamura's in the production truck. Pretty much saying, I didn't hurt your woman. You did. Actually, if you're going to be honest, what he should have said, I didn't hurt your woman. You didn't hurt your woman. Your woman hurt your woman because she was stupid. That would have been better. And I know a lot of people will not agree with that. Because they're going to say, oh, women are stupid. No. I'm talking about your manager being dumb enough to grab the wrestler and basically interfering and got hurt. A manager doesn't always interfere. And when they do interfere is when it's at the right time. And she didn't do it right and she got nailed. Now, when it came down to it, Rusev got beaten up in the back. They're trying to make this personal, but to be honest, I'm botching because I don't want to see this. I'm sorry. I don't want to see Rusev as U.S. champion because I've seen it 3 times now, or 4, I can't remember. 3 or 4 times already as U.S. champion, he gets nowhere. I wouldn't mind seeing Rey Mysterio having a rivalry with Sarah Almost going after the U.S. title. I wouldn't mind seeing Mustafa Ali a part of that. Why not have that? Hell, if Samoa Joe is not credible enough to have the world title or the universal title, then give him the freaking U.S. title. Put him in that mix. Make sure they all have something working with them. And then let them go after the U.S. title with Shinsuke Nakamura. And if you have to throw in Rusev, something. I don't care about Rusev. I'm sorry. Now, let's move on to the final match of the night. You know I'm not going there. You know I'm not going to do this before that. So I got to do this now. Becky versus Charlotte versus Mella. Okay. The 3 interviews they had. Becky's was the best. Carmella was okay. And Charlotte. I'm sorry. Charlotte isn't the best talker. She acts like a dad. Which means she's not acting like herself. Very rarely does Charlotte actually act like Charlotte. She's acting like Charlotte Flair. And that's the boring part about her. I'm sorry. Many people would consider Charlotte one of the best. I don't see it. As long as she acts like a dad, where is she the best? She has nothing as long as she's acting like her father. She's just sloppy in the ring. And when it came to this match, yes, she did a good job. But you can still see the Charlotte Flair than Charlotte. Because Charlotte Flair acts like Rick, several of those moves did not work very well. In fact, they looked really sloppy. And that's saying a lot when you got Mella, who had to kick everyone's head off majority of the time, and only had one move that was good. What is it? Code of Silence, I believe that's what she calls it. That was the only move I saw on Carmella that was good. And when it came down to it, Charlotte couldn't even hold her well enough to do it looked like she wanted to do a freaking tombstone pile driver. And she couldn't even hold her properly enough to get her on the right position to fake a tombstone pile driver. And then when Mella had to turn that into a sunset flip, it looked even worse. I'm not even saying Mella's good. Mella's not good in the ring. She should only be in there very rarely. Like she's been doing now. She's been she's been working with R-Truth, so he doesn't go in the ring often. So that's the way she should be. But when you see her paired with somebody, she's got to look good with someone who knows what they're doing, or at least knows what they're doing without trying to copy someone. And it was bad. And the only person that made it look good was Becky. The crowd was behind Becky. They loved her promo, and then they loved the work she did in the ring. And in the end, it was Becky who won, who's going up against Asuka, who came out and presented the title saying, here it is. You want to try something? Come and get it. And she's pretty much saying, the man is going to get the title. That I'm all right with. Good. That's the way it should be. Now, if I'm forgetting anything else in between this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Try to remember, but I can't remember everything. Usos versus The Bar. If the Usos win, they get a title shot. Why? Why? Are they still doing the same normal stuff? That's the same stuff they've been doing. Why isn't there another challenge tournament for who's there? Where the hell is Sanity? Tell me below. Did anyone see Sanity in the last 2 weeks? I don't even remember if the Colognes on Smacdown Live. I think they are. I don't even remember. Are the Colognes on Smacdown Live? If the Colognes are Smacdown Live, why haven't they been seen? I know. I'm not saying the Colognes are good. But if you're going to try and revitalize the tag title picture, and you only have Sanity and the Colognes, and you don't know if Heavy Machinery is coming to SmackDown Live, because they did show, Lacey Evans, they showed EC3, they showed, I can't remember the other guys, I'm blanking, I'm sorry, Sullivan and someone else, I can't remember right now. If they're all going to SmackDown Live, then you got extra people, but we don't know, so you got the Colognes and Sanity, along with New Day, Usos, and The Bar. So why are you letting them do this? Put them through another damn tournament. Something different. I know a tournament sucks, but something. Because I don't want to have to see the same stupid thing. This is like a rematch that they didn't get. Was the match alright? It was fine, but this wasn't about the match. I'm sorry, honestly, this was not about the match. It was about two things. One, when the match was over, now I'm not going to talk about Mandy yet, in a moment. When the match was over, you got The Miz coming out, who early in the night talked to Shane, and it seems like now the Best in the World tag team, didn't they already have Team Angle? And they changed the name to the Best in the World tag team, I believe. I don't even remember when it came to Charlie Haas, and when it came to Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas were a very good tag team. There's no way to deny it. But here, seeing that The Miz is still working with Shane McMahon, and now Shane has been convinced to do this, I'm not really into this. I'm not saying it couldn't work, but I'm not into it because I didn't watch the product and I don't know if I'm going to be really warming up to it or not. Once The Miz came out and challenged them at pretty much Royal Rumble, what happened? Cesaro said simply, "You want us to challenge you where you don't even have anything? Let me consult with my partner. You get a bro kick for your trouble," where you can see him dead on the floor. And basically, he goes into the back and pretty much says, "I got us our match." And Shane said, "This is not the way I want it." And he said, "So, it may not be the way you want it, but I proved that I'm determined to make this work. Not trying to cheat. I didn't cheat. I went straight to their face and asked them," which they should have said no. Honestly, they should have said no. The bar didn't need to be challenged. They should have said no. Period. But you know the reason why they're doing it. Okay, this is what happened. When the match was nearly over, Mandy Rose comes out in a towel. You can hear Corey Graves going, "Whoa." And maybe I'll have a picture of him in my face when I made that sound, because that's the way he sounded, like he almost orgasmed on himself. And it sounded like a pedophile orgasm, actually. But anyway, Jay is in the ring. Jimmy's distracted on the apron. And Mandy's saying, "Oh, Jimmy, I think I left my stuff in your room or something." And he's looking back at her. And then he gets kicked off the apron. And Jay pretty much is pinned. Now, flash into the future. You see Sonya and the Mandy Rose walking, and Mandy takes off the towel, and of course she's wearing her clothes. We're not that gifted. And then here's the thing that many people do not understand about, I'm not being stereotypical when it comes to black women. This also happens with white or Asian or anyone who comes from America from the East or West Coast. I'm not saying that the mid part of the United States doesn't have this attitude as well, but it's highly prevalent in the East Coast or the West Coast. Particularly, I believe, in the East Coast, because in the West Coast, they're more prevalent to stab or kill you than just beat the crap out of you. But here in the East Coast, in particular New York, baby, I'm telling you, when you see a woman who's been raised in New York, for mind you, this was interesting, seeing that she acted like someone from the Bronx or Brooklyn who doesn't care if she's in the street, and she sees her man with another woman going into a store, and she's wearing high heels or wearing some shoes. If she can take off her shoes, she will go into that store, she will take off her shoes, throw them to the ground, and then it's a brawl. She don't give a damn. She will destroy that place to get her hands on that woman. She don't care if she got to slam her head into the glass and make her bleed. She going to destroy that woman for what she did with her man. And that's to be messing with a man walking down the street like they're a pair when she should be pairing with her. And that's what you got in this match, which was in a sense a match. 2-on-1 handicap match, where pretty much Naomi is pretty much saying, "You trying to start something? You trying to start something? You trying to start something? I'm going to take you both on. I'll take both of y'all." And then when she got kicked in the, I think she got hit in the stomach, Jimmy comes and stops the fight. They're pretty much telling her to step off. Now, I wasn't sure how far they were actually going to go with this situation between Naomi, and Mandy Rose. I wasn't sure. And in actuality, I'm so glad they're continuing it. I know they were trying to do something with The Miz and Jimmy and Naomi. But that was because of Marine 5, I believe. Not Marine 6, Marine 5. But in this situation, it's better. Not because it's two guys going after a girl. You know that The Miz is not going to be going after Naomi. It doesn't really feel right because of Maurice. But this is Mandy Rose. Actually a good-looking woman who's by herself. And It makes perfect sense. And I'm enjoying it. This is a role that Mandy Rose is actually playing pretty well. She's, in the sense, a vixen. She's trying to take someone else's man, to have fun with him, and then probably toss him later. This is the way it looks. Now, here's the question. Will Jimmy play his part? When Mandy gets him by himself, when Naomi is not there, how is he going to respond in this situation? He must respond properly. He must. And he's got to respond in a proper way. And I don't know if he can do it. I'm not saying Jimmy couldn't be a good actor. But in this situation where he's probably going out his comfort zone, having to do something, even though Mandy's cool with it, because they all had to sign off on this storyline, that he knows she's not interested in him. Naomi knows he's not going to mess with her after that. It's going to count on him. It's now up to him to carry this. Can Jimmy carry the storyline? Maybe that's the title. Can Jimmy carry the storyline? Because it's not going to be up to Naomi. She's doing her part. It's not going to be Mandy. She's doing her part. It's going to be Jimmy. This is all going to fall on Jimmy's shoulders. And I don't know how he's going to respond to it. I'll say this. SmackDown was average. No real change. At least for me personally, after 2 weeks of hearing there's now a change. No, 3 weeks. There's now a change. That we're going to have new storylines, new matches. Don't see it. You seen it? Tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!